guys, today I'm going to do Justin Bieber's and Hailey Baldwin's compatibility chart, and this has been requested for quite some time now, so I'm going to get to it. And I want to let you guys know that I do not have Hailey Baldwin's birth time, and that makes a big difference because the birth time will tell you if they're synchronized, if they're not synchronized, you know, the transits in their houses. So it's going to be a little challenging, but we do have Justin Bieber's birth date and birth time. So let's get to it. Now, the first thing I like to look in compatibility is the moon. And Hailey Baldwin has her moon in Taurus, 1 degree, and Justin has his in 24 degrees in Libra. Now, Hailey Baldwin tends to be more stable when it comes to the moon, when it comes to her comfort zone, and Justin Bieber likes to be a little bit more risky. So the compatibility here, they do have something in common with the moon, is that both signs, Libra and Taurus, are ruled by Venus, the planet of beauty. So it's a very soft moon indeed. They're both very soft moons, both soft reactions, both soft comfort zone. But Justin Bieber tends to be more indecisive when it comes to making decisions, and Hailey tends to be more stable and determined when it comes to making her decisions. So that's something that could clash. Now remember, I don't have Hailey's birth time, so it could make a big difference, you know, if this moon was placed somewhere like, I don't know, maybe in the 11th house, which is where his is placed. Now the 11th house has to do with society, with friends, with social networks, and being a very outgoing person. Now I don't know where hers is placed, but for him, he's a very outgoing person. He's very flirtatious, and he likes mental stimulation. Okay, he's more attracted to physical beauty as well as her, because they're both ruled by Venus, these two signs, but he's very attracted to also conversation and mental stimulation. And she's more attracted to stability. And I believe that's why her dad is getting on Justin, and he's being very persistent and very determined to get to know Justin on a deeper level and make sure that he does the correct thing, you know, and go through the whole thing after he initiated it himself. So I believe that her moon in Taurus has to do a lot with the determination of the father, you know, making sure that he does go all the way with the wedding after he did the proposal. Okay. The next thing I like to look at is the Venus, and she's got 29 degrees Venus in Libra, which is cusping between Scorpio and Libra, and he's got 20 degrees in Pisces. So the Venus is sort of like, they're both semi-water because she's got here air sign Venus and water sign Venus, because it's kind of in between, the cusping, and he's got a water Venus. So I would say that their Venuses is pretty much compatible, except for the fact that she could be very dominant, okay? And by the way, her Venus is sort of opposing the moon, okay, as I can see here, because her moon is sort of like also cusping between Aries in a way, because it's only 1 degree. So she could be a very pushy person in regards to love. She could be very obsessed with someone, and she will make sure that they go all the way. Okay, I know someone who has the sun here in between Libra and Scorpio, and they will do it themselves if they have to, but they will make sure that the person does do what they say they do, okay? And for him, Justin is like a fish, okay, when it comes to love. He'll just swim to the right or to the left. He's kind of like a fish. He goes with the flow. So I believe she's the one with the pants here when it comes to the Venus, the attraction side. Now, Justin has his Venus in the 4th house of family. So the woman that he marries or that he ends up being with or that he's usually attracted to is a woman that has a very strong family background. And as we can see, Hailey does have a very strong family background because her dad and, you know, the family is always involved in what she does in her relationship. So the female that he's going to get with has a very, very strong family background, as his Venus is in the 4th house, okay? And remember, he tends to go with the flow. Now, again, her placement of her Venus is unknown, so we don't know what house her Venus is placed in. Like, you know, what more could add to this equation of her, you know, initiating stuff when it comes to Venus. Okay, now Venus is not the initiator, but Venus is sort of like the planet of value that gives value to things, and she values relationship so much that she's determined to push and push and be insistent on pushing, since it's between Scorpio and Libra. Okay, Libra doesn't like to have anything unbalanced, and Scorpio, when they get obsessed with something, they need to get it done. So when you put it in between, it's sort of like a very, very determined person to get things done. Okay. And the next thing I want to look at is the Mars, and his placement of Mars is in the 3rd house, and it's 25 degrees in Aquarius, and her placement of the Mars is 12 degrees in Virgo. So he communicates in a very rational and logical way. His methods of willpower is to not fight, not physically fight. Like, notice when he gets approached by the paparazzis, and the paparazzis are like, "Hey, Justin, I saw that you were with Hailey." He doesn't really pop him in the face, or he doesn't say any bad words. He's very diplomatic, and he's logical. He's like, "Hey, would you like people to, to get in your business, bro?" He's very friendly, and he handles everything with a very humanitarian way. Now, Hailey Baldwin has it in Virgo, and I don't know too much about her because I really haven't seen her, haven't analyzed her enough, but usually Mars in Virgo would tend to be a person that's very keen to details, very determined to get everything right with perfection. Okay? Now, Aquarius and Virgo, it's not like they don't get along, but and it's not like they don't have very little in common, because they're both very analytical. They're very analytical, so they have that in common. Their drive is very analytical, and I believe that their Mars doesn't really clash, and also to the fact that his Mars is in the 3rd house, which is ruled by Mercury, which is also the ruler of Virgo. So they don't really clash when it comes to willpower, okay? And their Venus is pretty much she's pretty much the go-getter, and he pretty much goes with the flow. She's the pusher, and he'll be pulling. So far their Mars doesn't clash, and their Venus is in clash. But remember, I don't know her time, so maybe her time will change everything, and this is why it's so hard to predict this relationship, because we don't have her time. It's the missing link that will pull this whole puzzle together. Now, another thing I want to know is the Sun. Talk about is the Sun. It's 10 degrees in Pisces for him, and for her it's 0 degrees in Sagittarius. So Hailey is like in between Scorpio and in between Sagittarius, and she's a cusp, okay? Also, she's ruled by Jupiter, as he is ruled by Jupiter. So Sagittarius and Pisces, man, they are squared signs, by the way. But they have one thing in common, and it's Jupiter. Okay, they both have a very optimistic view, and this is probably why they get along. However, Sagittarius tends to see things in the long stretch, okay? Pisces doesn't, okay? Pisces will be with you one day, and then 2 seconds later, he's going to change his mind. Like I said, Pisces are like the fish. They go with the flow, and they adapt to the influences around them. Sagittarius is not like that, though, even though they're mutable, okay, and they're very adaptable. Sagittarius tends to stick to their own truth. So that could be an issue, okay? That could be a very big issue when you have two signs that are squared, and yes, they could be very good friends, but when it comes to having their way, it could be difficult, because Sagittarius could be pushy, or maybe not pushy, I wouldn't say pushy, but they could be determined to keep a relationship together and have things a certain way, but then Pisces will want to rebel because they want their own space, they want to be alone, and, you know, they want someone to give them their space. And maybe Sagittarius could understand that to a certain point, till Pisces decides to run away with his friends and ignore Sagittarius, and then Sagittarius is not going to be very happy about it. So that's an issue that I see, okay? I see a good aspect with their Mercury, a good placement aspect. She's got her Mercury in Sagittarius 12 degrees, and he's got his Mercury 23 degrees in Aquarius, and these two really do get along, okay? Sagittarius and Aquarius get along really well. Their communication skills is really good. They could be really good friends. So Hailey and Justin have a really good communication relationship. Okay, they do communicate their feelings very well and in a very friendly way. If they have an issue, they will, they will discuss it in a very good manner. Okay, however, he's got his in retrograde. So he will stumble across a couple of words, and maybe she won't be able to understand it. But overall, I'm not going to say that's going to be too harsh. Okay, it's not going to be a very harsh placement there of having it retrograde, because he's got other good things too also in his chart. But I mean, it could be a little issue that there could be little understandings here and there, misunderstandings. But at the end of it all, at the end of the day, Sagittarius and Aquarius do get along when it comes to communication skills. So their Mercury is pretty well placed, okay? And let me say something. Relationships rely a lot in communication, guys, okay? If there's not communication, you can have the best chemistry, the best passion, the best affection, best Venus, but the communication will just kill it, okay? But they got really good communication, I gotta say that, okay? Now, interesting enough, Justin has his Saturn placed in the 4th house. And it's placed right to the sun. And, the sun symbolizes a father figure, or the father in the house, someone in the chart. But we're talking about relationship here. So having Saturn there so close with the sun and Venus, it could symbolize that there's the father of the woman that he's going to be with. It's going to be very disciplining, okay? Because Saturn is right next to the sun, and the sun, which is the father, is next to Venus, the woman. So the father is going to be very strict, okay, and make sure that he's correct and proper in the relationship. And we can see that with Hailey's dad, okay? Now, Hailey's got her Saturn in Aries, 00 degrees Aries. Now, I can't really say too much about it because I don't know her time, but having Saturn there in Aries could symbolize that she doesn't have a lot of leadership skills. She struggles with being the leader, and she kind of rebels against family because the family is much more of the leader to her, okay? Because Aries symbolizes the ego, okay? And when you have Saturn there on the ego, it kind of like pours you down, okay? And who more than your family to pour you down in the first years of development that you're on this planet? So she struggles with the leadership qualities of taking the initiative of doing things. She has to like sort of consult family, okay? So Hailey Baldwin's Pluto is right next to her sun. Her sun symbolizes the father figure or the authoritative figure in her life. So it's a very intense figure right here. Okay, he holds a lot of power because Pluto symbolizes power, and he's like close approximation to the sun. He's only 2 degrees away from the sun in her zodiac. So her dad holds a lot of power, okay? Now, Justin Bieber's, Pluto is located like 2 degrees away from his ascendant, so kind of like between the 12th house and the 1st house, like cusping. So it's sort of like squaring his 4th house, where he's got this little stellium going on here, and it could be a struggle of him trying to control his whole entire life, but having the issue because now, the chick that he's with or the chick that he will end up with in his life is the father sort of getting in the way. Okay, these people, these figures, the stellium is squaring the Pluto, okay, in the ascendant. And I did Justin Bieber's chart, and if you guys want to see the whole entire detailed natal chart, you could go find it in my channel. I might link it down here. But yes, I did a detail of him, and he does like to have control over his whole entire life because you've got Pluto there in the 1st house, okay? And it's right conjunct to his ascendant. So, whenever you have a planet conjunct here, it will automatically square the 10th house, the 7th house, it'll oppose the 7th house, and it'll oppose the 4th house. And in this case, we have a stellium here that deals with the chick, the father, and discipline. And maybe Mars doesn't get that much in the way, but it is in close proximity, I would say, to the 4th house. So he does have issues, and my take on this is that he's being forced in a way to go the extra mile, because if it was up to Justin, he probably would have dropped Hailey immediately after he got her, used to him, and then he would have dropped her like he does to every woman. So the fact that the father here is very, very strict and very determined to get things, and her too. She's got a very determined Venus, and a very determined Mars to get every little detail, and observe every little detail to make sure everything goes right. That he can't escape. Okay, he can't escape. He's squared here. So he's going to have to go all the way with the chick he ever decided to engage with, which is Hailey. Okay. Now, Hailey's north node is in the I was going to say the 6th house like I know her houses, but no, sorry. 6 degrees in Libra. Libra has to do with relationships. Okay, so her goal in life, her path in life is to merge with someone, to have a connection with someone, relationships. So her path in life is relationships, okay? Balance and harmony in relationships. Path in life has to do with Scorpio, and it's actually in the 12th house. And it's not in a really good placement, I would say, because usually the 12th house has to do with drugs, overdose, being forgotten, loneliness, inability to defend yourself. So having that there could really spark very, very dark and lonely path where you could be intoxicated, because Scorpio has to do with venom, okay? Being intoxicated. Remember, the scorpion will sting you, and what happens? It's poisonous. So you could overdose. You could do something that, you could end up in the wrong place, okay, in life, going here in the 12th house in this direction, all right? And now I read an article the other day where I saw that Justin and his friend was concerned about him because he was overdosing. And this strikes me the question, like, who that's in love is going to take drugs? Like, who will indulge in drugs if you are so happy with a wedding and an engagement? Think about it. Who would be? You would be happy. You wouldn't want to. Like, you would be full of life. Like, the last thing in your mind is to indulge in drugs to forget about life, to disassociate. So it's kind of weird, and every time I see Justin, his face looks like he's miserable, okay? So this is when you kind of have to ask a question, like, is he being forced? Is he being forced by this family that has power over his family for some reason, And I don't know, I have that impression upon him. I really do. To stop it right here, because I don't believe that Uranus and Neptune, and I already spoke about Neptune in his other charts, so you guys would want to see it. I don't want to repeat myself here. And for her, I don't really know where their placements are, and they're outer planets that their energies are always seen very faintly in one's life. So it's kind of difficult to explain these when you don't really have the person's birth time. So I'm going to leave that for now. But if you guys ever find out, what time Hailey is born, please message me, and I will definitely do another video based on her time. But for now, we're going to leave it at this, and this is all I have for now, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, if you guys want a reading, go to the description below, and you will find all the information there. And I want to thank you all for listening and tuning in here, okay? Have a great day, guys. Namaste. Hey guys, check out my music channel where I write my own music, sing and play piano. Make sure to subscribe.